Hi today all. So there have been a lot of videos about food prices and I'm going to make one myself. I won't really be able to really show this on camera, but here's about a pound of, I think this is medium hamburger, and it's over $22 a kilogram now. So that was over $10 for a pound of medium hamburger. And I'm not really sure if I'm on the right planet or not because I think I live in Canada, in Ontario, and I thought we had lots of cows. Like in my 15-minute drive into town, I pass hundreds of cows. So I seen a video of a butcher who said that, well, supply is low and demand is high. And I have to say that I've never agreed with the supply and demand business model. I think it's just something that some capitalist came up with to charge more money, essentially, and the business model isn't utilized properly, anyways. I know during COVID, two by four prices more than doubled, and the funny thing is that we never ever ran out of two by fours. But if you followed the supply and demand business model, when times are good, when there's an excess of product, the cost of, say, two by fours, for instance, should practically drop below cost. That's the supply and demand business model dictates that when there is a limited supply, that the price should essentially explode. And I'm not sure why anybody should be reaping a benefit because supplies are low. If we run out, we run out. I think really we should have essentially a fixed price economy. I don't understand why someone should have to pay a premium because we're running low on something. If we're running low, we're running low. If we run out, we run out. But as I said, when times are good, you don't see, the cost drop to, you know, at or below cost, which is what really is supposed to happen because they've made an excess on one end, and that should show up in times of plenty, so to speak. In any case, I think there are a lot of reasons why food costs have gotten so great, and I think one of the reasons is years ago, Monsanto seed down in the States. I think they're still going, but they essentially monopolized the food industry with their Roundup Ready seeds. So a farmer isn't allowed to save any of his seeds until next year. So he has to buy seed every year. That's going to drive food prices up. And I don't understand just because a company said, it's my opinion that once I pay you for something, it's my property. Irregardless of what you have to say, it's not a federal law if I decide to save and grow my seed the next year just because you said I can't. What are you going to do about it? It's not a law. It's just something that you've said. And it'd be like me selling someone a car and dictating to them, who can be in the car, when you can drive it. Once I sell that vehicle, I have no legal right to that car. I really don't think that just because you sign a contract with Monsanto Seed or some seed company, that what are they going to do if you save and grow your seed? Your own seed, you paid for it. And there are a lot of other factors that drive up costs. But this this Folgers coffee, I don't know whatever size this is. It's a tub of coffee anyways, and it was only a few months ago that it was $13. And I know that this increase is directly related to the tariffs. And just for the record, if you watch my Trump talk video, I don't agree with tariffs. I don't think they work at all. Honestly, for the amount of extra money that a government brings in, it just devastates economies, and the money comes out of individuals' pockets. So only a few months ago, this tub of coffee, and this is just really run of the mill stuff, guys. It's nothing spectacular by any means. It was $13. Now it's 23. So it went up almost 100%. And it's because of the tariffs in this particular situation. That is all tariff. And my money's going into the government's pocket. For what reason? Just because you can take it? Because that's all that's going on. What am I supposed to do about it? Just say, you know what? I I wish people had the right to say, I guess you could just not buy coffee, but I wish you could, in a sense, just say, well, I'll pay for the cost of the coffee and a little bit extra for, I understand there have to be some profits, but I'm just not paying the government a tariff for no reason other than the fact that they just want the money. The thumbnail for this video, it's a picture of a strip loin steak that I think it said $13 and something on it. I took that photo quite a while ago. I didn't get around to making this video. That same strip loin steak, and I'll say it again, that's a really run-of-the-mill strip loin. Nothing fancy there. It's over $20 now. And I really feel sorry for, minimum wage earners. I have had to modify essentially my diet. Like, I just can't afford to eat the way I'm, well, supposed to, or the way I would like to. I literally haven't had a steak now in a couple of years because even if I have the money for it, I just can't bring myself to pay that for a single strip loin because I can't even enjoy eating it because the whole time I'm eating it, I'm just thinking that this one little steak was over $20. And I'm just not gonna partake in this lunacy. It's, in my opinion, it's absolutely crazy. And it's they say, I saw a butcher. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I saw a butcher say, well, there's supplies are down, so supply and demand issue. But we never seem to, these suppliers are saying this, but we never seem to run out of beef, though. You never see a shortage at the grocery store. It's the same thing during COVID with the 2x4s. Well, they're in short supply. But I never ever noticed, and I'm contracting quite a bit. Well, in the past, I never noticed a shortage of 2x4s. That I just we never ran out of 2x4s. And I'm not sure. I don't really like the government getting involved in things. Really, they usually just screw them up. But I don't like going conspiracy theory. But I just don't understand how living in Canada, especially, like we're a huge food producer. And how is it that Canadians are paying this for groceries when we live in a essentially a food mecca? We have pretty well everything we need. How is it possible that things have gotten to this cost level? Like $20 for a strip loin? I think T-bone steaks are upwards of like it's about $30 for a single steak now. Who's buying this stuff? I just I'm not sure if the government should perhaps, we should have smaller local slaughterhouses um, that service certain areas. Like we need to streamline this process to save money. We need to look into this issue of seed companies monopolizing their business. I mean, once I pay you for that seed, regardless of what you have to say about it, I'm going to do what I want with that seed. And I'd be very interested to know what you think you can actually do about it. Are you gonna are you gonna sue me? Sue me for what? Because you told me I couldn't and I did? Am I breaking a law? No, I'm not breaking any federal law. Just because you told me I could or couldn't do something with my own property doesn't mean that that's an enforceable uh, thing. So I just don't know. I just really feel for people that are making even less money than I am, and I know a lot of people. It's just so unfortunate that things have gotten so exorbitantly expensive that you're working 40 hours a week and you go home at night and you have to eat, craft dinner or just the cheapest shit that you can find. And on the weekend, you can't even afford to go out. And this is how it's going to be for you year after year and largely for the rest of your life. I just that is not that is not a life. And I think we're also going to see a real explosion in mental issues because society is just being completely eroded. It's just it's getting out of control. So yeah, not sure that I mean, I'm a foodie and I used to love going to the grocery store and getting my food. And now I don't even want to go into the grocery store. And it's not the grocer's fault. I'm sure they're very disturbed by all of these trends as well because when things get that expensive, people stop consuming. They'll either buy a lot less or quit buying altogether. As I said, I haven't had a steak for a couple of years and I'm not sure that I ever will again because I just refuse to pay for it. A friend of mine did a couple of weeks ago, came across, I believe it was beef from Australia. And there was, I think there were four strip loins in the package for like $30. And as I said, I don't really like to go conspiracy theory, but there's got to be something going on here. Things have gotten that expensive. Like Something's going on. How can you ship beef halfway around the world and sell it for less than a product produced in my own country? I think that makes it pretty obvious that something just isn't right. Well, everyone try to eat the best food that you can, be diligent, you know, um, go for sale items, but just try not to eat the junk. I know it's almost impossible not to, but um, I know I have irritable bowel syndrome, and a lot of the reason was because of my divorce, the cost of the divorce. I had to eat a lot of canned food if I wanted to eat and continue to see my kids. And for about a decade, it was almost exclusively garbage. And I'm quite sure that today, this is a lot of the reason that I'm having troubles. And I think, too, there are also a lot of preservatives in food. The amount of preservatives in a loaf of commercially produced bread, there's about 12 ingredients in commercially produced bread. And bread should really only have like, there's four ingredients in bread, right? Flour, a little bit of yeast, five ingredients: flour, a little bit of yeast, a little bit of oil, and sugar and salt. Five, six ingredients, whatever. Commercially produced bread, 12 ingredients. Why? So that they can extend the shelf life of it for, I mean, I left a loaf of bread on my counter and I'd already used part of it. It was on my counter for a month and there was still no mold on it. So this bisodium carbonate or whatever it is that they're putting in the bread, think about it this way. If it kills mold, then it can't be good for the bacteria in your gut either. And I have noticed this. If I eat commercially produced bread, I just anyways, the only thing you can really do to mitigate that is that the bread that is made in-house at the grocery store does not have these preservatives in it, and I can confirm that because by the end of the week it'll have mold on it. So if you're going to consume bread, do yourself a favor, do your body a favor. Either make your own or buy the fresh bread that's baked in store. Don't eat this commercially produced stuff. It is absolutely terrible for you. Well, good luck to you all. I I don't have a lot of faith that I'm not sure how we can change things, but a lot of the things that the government allows, like for instance, all of these ingredients in bread so that a company can make more money, we should not have to eat that shit for the sake of profits. That is wrong. And the fact of the matter is that in a lot of cases, a person isn't left with any choice except for to eat that. And I have a real problem with that. And fresh food has been priced out of a lot of people's budgets. Um, I'm supposed to be eating a lot of turkey and stuff. I can't afford it. And the beef, I used to buy a whole, about 3 years ago, I'd say maybe now. I used to go, sometimes it'd be on sale at the store, or I would go to my local butcher and I could get the whole beef tenderloin for like $120, give or take, depending on the size of the tenderloin. I get the whole beef tenderloin for $120. And I mean, there are quite a few steaks come out of a whole tenderloin. and we were eating filet mignon. Every time we barbecued, we were eating filet mignon. How how things have changed in the last 3 years. Myself and a friend of mine who we used to take turns buying this tenderloin, we've just quit buying it because I we haven't even checked for a while, but I'm quite sure it's at least $300 now, maybe even more for a beef tenderloin. And I really wonder, how much of this food these grocery stores are throwing out. I was into the grocery store one day and there was a whole whack of the family size chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breasts marked 30% off. And the butcher at our store, he's really good about, he'll mark stuff down first thing in the morning. And I wasn't there until I think it was after lunch. And it didn't even look like any of this chicken had even been touched. I mean, there were maybe 40 packs, 40 family packs. And it looked like maybe someone had picked up, one or two or three of them. Like there were a few missing, but even marked down, people weren't picking it up because it's just that expensive now. Well, I hope that, things can change, and I hope maybe the government might start looking into some of the reasons why food has gotten so expensive. But like I said, like farmers having to buy their seed every year, it's ridiculous. Have a great day, all.